Hi, it's John Hripko with John's Hazy Crystal Ball for the month of August 2021. So here we are. I'll tell you this, I had a trip up to Jasper last week and the mountains are full of snow, so I'm hoping that we haven't seen the last of summer, but so be it. Winter's amongst us. They're coming in pretty soon. Regardless, August statistics for transactions in real estate for Calgary and area were up 37% over last year, which is spectacular, and we're up 25% over our long-term average. Sales have slowed, however, since the end of June, from the rapid pace we had previous to that to a more of a moderate pace, which is still way ahead of normal. In fact, year to date, we're at 19,500 plus transactions, which is ahead, considerably ahead of the average we've had for the last 6 years. So it's quite a substantial gain. With regard to that, detached homes priced under 500,000, especially under 400, but up to 500,000, are selling quite rapidly and in many cases with multiple offers. Currently, we have a 3-month inventory of all detached homes across all price ranges. Apartment-style condominiums are still a little bit slower, lagging behind, and currently we have approximately just over a 5-month inventory level. Now we move on to the next topic of conversation, which is the federal election. Here we are where the Liberal minority government thought they had all the numbers to gain a majority, so be it. I mean, I think there's an issue with the Constitution whereby if they're supposed to have an election every 5 years by mandate, then if you have a minority government, unless you're defeated, you shouldn't be able to call another election before your 5-year term is up. But that's only my personal opinion. Anyways, here they are. They had a substantial lead, it appears, based on all the Nanos polls and other polls out there, that the Conservatives have gained quite a bit of ground and appear to be neck and neck. That doesn't mean anything because, quite honestly, you can have one ward which has a massive differential in the number of people voting for one party versus the other, and another case they're neck and neck. So that doesn't necessarily indicate that one party is ahead of the other or whatever else. It just means that overall it's probably going to be another minority government for one or the other party. But let's see what's going to happen on September 20th. One of the major things affecting the election, in my opinion, is the incentives that the various parties are offering to buyers, especially first-time buyers, in an attempt to thwart the massive increase in values that's been seen across the country, but especially in Toronto, where they have lots of votes, and in Vancouver as well. And the reality of the situation is the more money you throw at a scenario, all that's going to do is make the entire program self-defeatist. The more money you give somebody is just going to create more bidding wars, as people are just going to be able to pump up the values. The only way to minimize or mitigate a massive increase or a continued increase that's beyond the norm in housing values is to build more inventory. Now, be that apartment style, townhouse style, single family, etc., that's what's needed. If you have more inventory, then you won't have a massive increase that we have seen in a lot of the centers in values. Beyond that, interest rates, as I mentioned previously, we anticipate they're going to stay relatively static for about another 12 months or so. But watch out, Q3, guaranteed by Q4 2022, interest rates will be increasing, and we foresee increasing at a minimum of 25 basis points or 0.25% interest every quarter as an absolute minimum. And we expect that to continue well into 2024, regardless of what party is going to be in power in Ottawa. Lastly, I want to talk about the Calgary mayoral elections coming up. Mr. Nenshi is no longer going to be running to be mayor, and we have a number of different candidates. What's interesting is, regardless of the federal election, I haven't seen a lot of propaganda, signage, or whatever else from all the candidates, so I have no clue as to what they're going to be offering. The biggest issue, I think, more so, this is both federal, but more so here in Calgary from a city standpoint, is they look at basically their funding as being a bottomless pit. In my opinion, they should be looking at it from the standpoint of zero-based budgeting. Look at where they can be cutting costs, where costs are not essential, etc., speaking to a number of individuals that I know who are downtown at City Hall. They look at their budgets roughly at this time of year, especially in another month or 6 weeks time in a typical year, and say, oh geez, our budget was, let's say, 1.2 million. So they spend all the money they had, even if they only had spent 900,000 at that point in time, so that they don't get cut in their budget for the subsequent calendar year. Basically a backwards approach to the whole scenario. Anyways, enough of that. That's John's Hazy crystal ball. We anticipate the marketplace to stay relatively flat through to the end of the year and early next year. Again, values of detached homes and even attached homes under 500,000 will continue to be quite, demand for those price ranges will be quite buoyant, and it'll slow as time proceeds. I would say once you reach roughly 800, 850,000, it slows to a certain extent. Once you crack the 7-figure mark, and especially once you get into the $2, $3, $4, and $5 million mark, it slows considerably, although good product is selling. Anyways, thanks a lot for listening. If you have any questions, definitely give us a call at 403-245-4477, or email us at any time at info@teamhripko, that's TEAMHRIPKO.ca, or give us a call. Thanks.